is clear and there's just a light wind blowing. It's perfect conditions for running 12.5 laps of the track. My name is Hayden Chairman. I'm joined by Hamish Meacham, Community Manager here at Athletics New Zealand. Hamish, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well, and you're spot on. You're exactly right. We've got a little pocket of perfection here at the AUT Millennium on Auckland's North Shore for the Daikin Night. It's been a great evening so far. The conditions have been great for those sprints, those 800s, and those field events. Some awesome results. But now it's the highlight. This event is called the Night of Fives, and we've got some super exciting 5K races ahead of us.
Absolutely, and appreciate all the viewers staying up nice and late for this one. And the reason we like it nice and late is because obviously the wind usually dies down and the temperatures drop, which just makes it ideal for running these sorts of distances. Now, we've seen some really fast times, men's and women's, over the years in this event, and so expect both that 9:20 women's elite race and the 9:45 race to go very quickly. But we were running through the start list for the men's C and the men's B race, and there's going to be some quick times going down.
Yeah, holy smokes, exactly. Like the men's C race, which is coming up pretty soon, is just stacked with a lot of the best Masters runners in New Zealand, and then some very good young up-and-comers. So I see Mark Boyce, Greg Derbyshire, and Daniel Shaw from Takapuna, Daniel Donegan from Whippets, and then on the younger brigade, Zach Manning from North Harbour Bays. So it's going to be a pretty spicy 5,000 metre C race. Ian Pugh out of Athletics Tauranga. I mentioned Daniel Shaw, my good friend from Takapuna. So it's going to be really exciting. I don't want to guess what pace they'll go out at Hayden, but it'll be well under 16 minutes. I'm pretty confident in saying.
I'm pretty sure to win this event, you've got to be looking at 16 minutes or 15 something. And I think it's going to be a good battle with the old versus the young. Love it when we have these battles. And as always with Masters runners, there's no one more competitive than a Masters runner lining up next to another Masters runner.
Yeah, and the good thing about these Masters runners is they're so experienced. They know pace. So it's actually perfect mixing these younger guys with the older guys, because they can sit in. The older guys aren't going to do anything too stupid. They're not going to go out 5 seconds too quick for the first few laps. And they tend to stay pretty well. If the young guys are there at the end, though, you've got to back them, because the young guys often have that better finishing speed.
Got the wheels.
Yeah, that's as you age.
The old guys are already sprinting, right?
Yeah, as you age as an athlete, that's one of the first things that goes, is your ability to really open it up over the last couple of 100 metres. So looks like we're not too far away from a start in this men's C 5,000 metres, which is pretty exciting here at the Daikin Night of Fives. See the hard-working officials from Athletics Auckland doing a great job of rallying the athletes.
So we can see there, we've got the split start happening. That'll just keep the athletes separated for the first bend, and then we will be all the way for 12.5 laps. So, distance running is, we've just finished off the first part of the meet, which was all 100 metres, 800 metres, nice short stuff. 12.5 laps. It comes down to strategy, comes down to pacing, comes down to allocating those energy resources across the full 5,000 metres, and off they go. So you can see there the cones just keeping each of the start groups in their section, and you can see the blue and yellow of Takapuna with Greg Derbyshire hat on backwards. And am I right?
It's saying Zach Manning taking the lead for North Harbour Bays, the host club of this event, with an athlete from Whippets in seconds, and that's Greg Derbyshire, well-known Masters runner, in third.
Yeah, and am I right in saying Greg's won a national cross-country in the seniors, or potentially as a national road title?
Yeah, really well performed junior here in Auckland, coached by the Don, part of a famous stable when he was younger. Went over and I think he ran for North Dakota State in the States, came back, got super fat, ballooned out to about 100 kg.
You said it.
And then he got back into shape, I think it was about 10 years ago, and he's had a great run as a Masters athlete. We're going to see the first lap splits here. So again, Zach Manning from North Harbour Bays leading from the Whippets athlete. Yeah, okay. Pretty sedate. About 77, 78 through that first lap. Not quite what I expected, I'll be honest.
Yeah, nothing crazy. But good to get that first lap done and dusted. Now, so that Whippets runner is...
It's really dark.
We got
Sam Schofield.
Right.
That'll be Sam Schofield, who's better known, I think, as a triathlete. There is another Whippets athlete in the pack there somewhere, Daniel Donegan, the club president. The Whippets, of course, they've got a really exciting event.
About the Whippets.
Yeah. So they're a new club on the scene here in Auckland. Very much, not a traditional club, so they don't have a base. They just catch up for Sunday runs. Really strong social media presence. You'll see from the kit there, they've got a great Nike kit. And they're doing some pretty interesting, innovative stuff. So they're actually hosting, in the first weekend of April to open the cross-country season, a night cross-country race here in Auckland.
That's epic.
Yeah, it promises to be really exciting. I know the running community here is really excited about it. So in fifth, we see the long loping stride of Daniel Shaw from Takapuna. Owairaka athlete there in fourth.
Is that David Baggett?
I'll go with that. So, yeah, good spread amongst the clubs. And this men's C grade 5,000 metres.
Yeah, so good little pacing set here, just leading out the train. You can see they're strung out, so we'll get a good cue as to the sort of pace that they're running at as they come through to hit that 1K mark. And we said something under 16 was likely to win this one. At the moment, they are sitting at 3:09 for the first lap, so that's bang on. So that's 15:45 pace.
3:09 for the first K, not too bad. Yeah, they've clearly picked it up a bit since that first lap, which was a little on the sedate side. So good to see they're working into their rhythm, and Zach Manning doing the hard work out the front. I wonder if Zach is planning to run this all the way. He's a really well-performed secondary schools athlete. He's either in his last year at school or was just out of school finishing the previous year. As we say that, the Owairaka athletes...
Yeah, David Baggett just moving up on the outside, putting a bit of pressure on the pacemaker, and the pacemaker's like, okay, sure, I'll let you take the lead for a little bit. Why not?
Now, look, if you let me, I could talk for an hour about Owairaka and their resurgence
all right,
as a running club. So a few years ago, Owairaka was essentially almost done as a club.
Yeah.
They were at a real low, and they've rebuilt from a base of kids athletics. They've done a great job utilising those get, set, go and run, jump, throw programs. Then they had a really strong para-athletics program, you might remember. And now more recently, the distance running community out of Owairaka. Really, really strong. Guys like Nick Moore, Adam Gallagher, and our friend here, Mr. Baggett. Really well performed. Mostly masters distance runners, but fantastic community of athletes. They've got a great facility down in Mount Ross called the Lovelock Track.
It is a cool little track, actually.
Yeah.
I love heading along to there for a few little training sessions.
Yeah, a 6-lane synthetic track, and it is a true community track. It's probably the busiest track in New Zealand, but they also have some fantastic workouts. The Owairaka crew, a couple of good coaches on board, Murray Cumberbatch, Nick Basil. So, yeah, they're doing great things out of the Owairaka club. Clearly, I'm a big fan. Big fan of Zach Manning doing all the hard work, checking the watch. So I think he is doing a bit of purposeful work here, leading this race.
Yep, just clicking off those splits as we go through. So that train's keeping together nicely. We've got a good group of guys. I love how Greg Darvish is just up on the shoulder of the other athletes, just asserting his place amongst this pack as one of the more experienced runners. And I've got to say, I remember a couple of years ago I went for a fartlek session. It was supposed to be a little casual fartlek session with Greg Darvish around Auckland Domain.
Good luck.
Didn't rush into doing any more. He really put me through the ringer.
He would have loved that too. Hey, look, keep an eye out on the Tauranga Ramblers athlete, young Ian Pugh, now up in about 6th place. He's in that green singlet, I think the number 1 bib on the side, and a bit of a Takapuna sandwich. The youngest in this field, he'll have the legs at the end if he sticks with this lead pack. Great to see Seamus Kelly in this lead pack of about 9, more known as a marathon runner, not a member of an Athletics New Zealand club. This is an open event here tonight, so anyone can join. As I say that, things are stringing out a little bit here, Hayden.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a separation in this front pack as they go through 2K and about 6:20. So still on track for that sub-16. So we were definitely on target when we were calling it 15 something would win it. But yeah, good little bunch here with the youngins, triathlete in there, Greg Derbyshire.
Yeah, and there's
holding it together for the oldies.
A little gap forming between the two Takapuna boys, Mark Boyce and Daniel Shaw. That gap's open to about 4 or 5 metres now. Danny Shaw, pretty experienced, a lot of time in the NCAA system in the States, still going strong in his mid-30s. He'll want to close that gap. 7 laps to go here in the men's C race at the Daikin Night of Fives.
Always a good feeling when you cross that halfway mark in a 5,000 metres, when you know that you're on the other side of the rise, and it starts to get easier when you're sort of clicking down the laps rather than clicking up the laps. But definitely some spreading out of this field here, and it continues. Greg Derbyshire just right on the heels with Sam Schofield just behind him, and it's Zach Manning leading out this little train.
And who's that ACA?
7 men.
Who's that ACA athlete in 4th?
I believe it is Ethan Werner.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah,
I did see
Ethan.
Yep. So, yeah, I do. I've got to admit a little bit of bias, but I think the two younger guys, Ethan and Ian, currently sitting in 4th and 5th. You know, if they can hang with these older guys, and I'll put Sam Schofield in that group as well, the young triathlete from Whippets. I think they'll have the speed in the closing laps if they can stick with the likes of Greg Derbyshire and Mark Boyce. Be interesting to see how long Zach Manning's going to take this crew through. To be honest, Zach is fast enough that he can run the whole thing. He could he could by rights carry on and push away for the win, but he's clearly running to a schedule.
He's looking nice and in control, and good to see these guys now starting to struggle a little bit. Is David Baggett just slipping off the back there, as you can see. Oh, well, off screen there's some big old forks of lightning hitting out somewhere out near Rangatoto out in the Gulf. But our field of 7 athletes is now whittled down to 6 athletes in this group as they come up towards 3K. And maybe is there just a little bit of a separation, a little bit of a bungee cord just appearing between 3rd and 4th. Oh, well, and it's tough.
Greg Derbyshire hasn't been on fantastic form so far this summer. He's had a couple of rough races. Auckland City Athletics has run a few Wednesday night races under lights, and Greg Derbyshire has been, handily dispatched by the likes of Mark Boyce, but it looks like a return to great form for Darbs.
So Zach Manning pulls off to the right, job done, 3K in about 9:32. So
5 laps to go now for Darbs.
Slight slow up, but Greg Derbyshire has gone to the front and said, right, well, if I'm going to be at the front, I may as well put a bit of a separation between these boys. So behind him, Ethan Werner, Ian Pugh, David Baggett and Sam Schofield form a little bunch.
Yeah, so we see the 3 young athletes sandwiched by 2 older Takapuna Masters athletes, Boyce and Derbyshire. Ian Pugh, Sam Schofield and Ethan Werner from Auckland City Athletics. Greg Derbyshire, though, no stranger to leading from the front.
Some great comments coming through on the YouTube comments section. Call out to one of our commentators to get back running.
James Kugler, keep your opinion to yourself, mate. Not interested. We can't all be super coaches who stay in shape like you, James Kugler. But the white Kenyan out front, Greg Derbyshire looking very good. Very tough, 4 laps to go, a mile to go. He's got 20 plus years of experience under his belt, Greg Derbyshire. Probably in the order of a quarter of a century of experience of hurting himself on the track like this. These young guys need to close this gap if they want to get the win. And in fact, it's Mark Boyce and Ian Pugh in 2nd and 3rd now. Mark Boyce sitting on the shoulder of Ian Pugh.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Can Greg Derbyshire put enough ground between these other two who are looking pretty good and have each other to work with as well. As Mark just comes past Ian, says, I'll take a lap from here, buddy.
This is good for Ian. What Ian wants to do here, if he can, is slide in behind Mark Boyce and let Mark hopefully drag him back up to Darbs. Then Ian can use his speed in the last lap. Schofield and Vernon still not out of this. Boy, oh boy, Greg Derbyshire. And he's like, I'm 41. I want to say he's 43. He's a few years older than me.
I think you're right. I just jumped onto ANZ Rankings and had a little look. anzrankings.org.nz, by the way, if anyone wants to know anything about athletics in the country.
Absolutely my favourite website.
Yeah, it's great to get track of. I did have him up here.
You sure did. 3 laps to go now for Darbs, and Mark Boyce is closing that gap and has got a little break on Ian Pugh out of Tauranga Ramblers. Ian coming from a strong running family.
Yeah.
His dad, a very well-performed domestic runner, also out of Tauranga. Sam Schofield, Ethan Vernon. They're just hanging in now. 5,000 metres is a long way for these younger athletes. The old war horses like Darbs here, no problem. It's a sprint for Greg Derbyshire.
So he's hanging it in. He's got 1K to go now, 12:44. Can he dip beneath 16 minutes? That's going to be close. That last K was running 3:12.
Yeah, we really want him to, because we said that it would be one under 16 minutes. So we'll look quite stupid if he ticks over. Come on, Darbs. You can do it, mate.
And one of the key things here is getting selection, advanced selection for a New Zealand road relays team, hopefully later in the year. So I'm sure that Takapuna team will be pretty strong. Yeah,
Takapuna focusing more on the Masters team these days. But very well performed. Lots of top 5, top 6 places for the Takapuna Harriers.
So with 2 laps to go, it's about 40 metres back to Mark Boyce, and then another 20 metres or so, or probably more like 10 metres
and then
back to Ian Pugh.
There's a cool group. They're a bit behind, but there's a great-looking group of about 7 athletes now coming up with 2 laps to go. So they're all looking pretty good for a time of around 16:40, which is pretty great. But here's Darbs. Head on backwards, which I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of.
Well, it's sun protection, you know, for the neck. Sort of also helps to keep your head warm.
Can I tell you, when Darbs was a young man, he was quite trendy. He would wear a lot of ice hockey shirts.
Right.
So we would all be there in our ASICs and our Nike gear and trying to look real smooth. And he would show up in some baggy pants and an ice hockey shirt. And I was like, who's this punk? But he was bloody good, and he's still bloody good. All of these years later. 500 metres to go now.
He's going very well as Greg Derbyshire. So he's 43 years of age. I've just looked up his stats. He's got a recent PB in the marathon of 2:34. Set at the Rotorua Marathon last year.
Pretty solid.
So that's pretty good. Also a half marathon PB of 1:10. Very close to going sub 1:10. But here he is into his last 400 metres. Surely no one can catch him. He's got 80 metres back to Mark Boyce, and then it's another 30-40 metres back to Ian Pugh, and then we've got another 20 metres back to 4th and 5th, who we will pick up on shortly. But at the moment, it's all about Greg Derbyshire. Here he comes. He'll be loving watching the replay of this when he gets home later tonight and post it up onto his Instagram. But 200 metres to go. Here he comes. He'll surely go under 16 minutes. Has a little look at the watch. Knows he's got this one in the bag.
Yeah, he's really opening up now. Like he was working pretty hard a few laps ago, but he's comfortable now. He's in a good space. 150 metres to go. Come on, Darbs. Bring it home, mate.
Nothing worse than someone doing their strides just next to you. You're trying to finish it off. Clicks the watch one last time. He's going to have a look at the little finish line coming up, and he will come through for a well-deserved victory. It is a long way back to second place for Mark Boyce. So here he is, winning the men's sea race. Greg Derbyshire, one of our premier Masters runners here in New Zealand, and a solid time. Mark Boyce is coming through. He'll clock a time under 16, and Ian Pugh also will dip under 16, 15:59.
Very well done, Ian Pugh. Sam Schofield coming through for 4th. Pretty fantastic running.
Yeah, very, very close there. Was it Ethan Pugh in there as well?
Flying finish, Daniel Donegan from Whippets, cleaning up some of his Masters competitors, looking very good. And another group coming through, including young Seamus Kelly, very impressive. I know that's right around what he wanted to run tonight. Dan Shaw, not his best day, but there'll be many more days to come. Fantastic racing, and you see, it's like someone's dropped a hand grenade at the finish line there, and the Whippet's pretty happy with that performance. Great stuff, gentlemen. Absolutely exceptional men's C-grade 5,000 metres here at the Daikin. Night of 5 sets us up for a great evening. What have
Does it what? This is just the C race, and we've already had the mixed race, which was a sort of a community run race, and we've still got 2 grades of the men's to go. And to think about your local park run, if someone drops a 15-something, they're probably 5 minutes ahead of second place. So these guys are quick.
99 out of 100 times you'll be winning your local park run with that sort of time. And yeah, I mean, I've heard some talk about this men's B race. There's some kids in this race who are going out looking for 30-second PBs over 5,000 metres. Awesome. So there's going to be some people really getting after it in this next men's B grade 5,000. And then I'm going to jump forward and talk about the Kinetics Physiotherapy men's Blincoe Cup 5,000 metres. It's going to be super exciting. I was talking earlier with Craig Kirkwood, coach of both Sam Tanner, who were pacing, and Hayden Wild, the Olympic bronze medalist in the triathlon. I feel like I should whisper it, but
what sort of pace are we looking at?
They're looking at 64s, Ooh. And he's looking to pin his ears back and really give himself an opportunity to get a spot in an Athletics New Zealand Black Cycling team. So
epic.
It is pretty epic.
And he'll have some company too. Ollie Chignell.
Ollie Chignell won't let him go. Julian Oakley won't let him go. The issue is how long can Sam Tanner pace? I think he can get him through to close to 3,000 metres, but then it's those last couple of Ks. And you see the guys having a great chat here. The Takapuna boys. 3 of the 4 of those lads all live up on the Hibiscus coast, do a lot of training together. They're actually a pretty great bunch of guys. I won't wax too lyrical, but it's awesome to see these guys. A lot of them have families, quite serious careers going on, and they still find time to carve out a bit of time to train with their mates and rock down, have a race and have a bit of banter. It's pretty cool. I'm a bit jealous, if I'm being honest. James Kugler, you've got me. You got me in the heart. I wish I was in shape.
Hamish and I are going for a run.
We're not.
As soon as we get off the coverage.
I just ate like 3/4 of a pizza, if I'm being honest. I'm not going for any runs.
Well, the invite's still there. I'm always so pumped after watching distance running late in the night. I kind of need to go for a run so I can actually get to sleep at night. So I'll be out here lapping it out, Hamish, if you want to join me.
I'll grab a beer and watch.
Cool splits.
I'll just critique your form because I'm quite into, technical efficiency over the longer distances. Yep. So I'll see if I can give you a few tips. We're going to go to a bit of a commercial break, an opportunity to thank the fantastic sponsors here at the Daikin Night of 5. So we'll be back with you very shortly.
Our mission is to assist our clients make better financial decisions through advice and superior investment solutions, whatever their stage of life.
We're a privately owned company. We care, and that showcases in everything that we do. We haven't lost sight of where we've been, but we're also excited about where we're going.
We really understand what New Zealanders want and need for their future investment goals and their retirements.
What we are trying to do is give everybody in New Zealand an opportunity to have the retirement they deserve.
So we've developed an intelligent and accessible investment approach to help clients reach their retirement goals.
We want to help New Zealanders make better financial decisions and ultimately give the clients more control and more flexibility.
Well, these days technology plays a huge role in helping us. I've been an advisor for over 30 years now, and if I think back to the tools that we would have had available to us to use back in the 90s and compare them to what they are today, It's just a huge advancement.
The world of investing has changed a lot in the last 10 or 20 years. Prices have got more expensive in all sorts of shares and equities.
Traditional asset classes on their own are not always going to keep up with the way the world is developing.
The investment world needs to change in order to generate returns, and to generate returns that keep on compounding. For those in the market that are not willing to make those changes and think about other asset classes, they will have to be used to lower returns.
More and more Kiwis are demanding more from their investment providers. They want to know that they're invested in companies and business practices that are doing, right by the planet.
For every single company we look at a checklist that looks through factors on decarbonisation, carbon emissions, other social factors and corporate governance factors as well.
We believe that every one of our funds should be socially responsible. Give your clients the knowledge that they are ethically investing no matter where they put their investments.
Well, integrated financial advice, we believe, is a coordinated, disciplined approach and a great way to achieve client outcomes.
Listening is an essential part of providing advice to clients. I need to know the big picture for a client first. I want to know what their goals and their objectives are before I can turn to my mind what the actual investments are that are best for them.
And then we go through our tools, our technology, and help them plan along the way.
And we're really developing at a fast pace to be innovative, digital, engage with our clients, but also understanding, the foundations of what made us NZ Funds in the first place.
Well, kia ora koutou. Welcome back, everyone, to the Daikin Night of Fives. My name is Hayden Sherman. I'm joined by Hamish Meacham. We just had the men's sea race finish up with a blazing display of distance running from Greg Derbyshire. The old boy giving it to the young'uns. Mark Boyce, also from Takapuna, coming through for second place, and Ian Pugh rounding out the top three. So we've started off with some speedy running. We've got plenty more where that came from. Next up will be the men's B race. And then, of course, we drop into that extremely exciting women's 5,000 metres. And I'm super pumped to see how Laura Nagel goes in that, if she can continue her just dominating season.
Yeah, look, let's focus on this B race. We'll talk about Laura because it is very exciting, but this men's B race, I mean, you look at these names here and it's actually hard to believe that this is a B race. There's several national junior champions. There's a guy who almost ran a sub 4-minute mile not too long ago, featured in the 800. There's some great triathletes. Athletes from all aspects of our sport, marathoners, younger athletes doing their first 5,000 metres. We've got a para-athlete, Jaden Mulvold, who's a wheelchair racer, who actually, it's great that he can be taking part in this race. The only slight issue is he often feels he has to be racing out in lane 2 or 3 just for safety, but what will often happen is he'll start at the back and then race through. He'll probably get out in front. He might, in fact, be the first athlete across the line, but we'll see how it goes. But yes, it's a great field in this men's B 5,000 metres. We see some athletes representing their clubs, the Whippets running project, Owairaka, Pakuranga, all there on the Waterfall start line. A North Harbour Bays athlete, a Queenstown athlete, great to see, waving to mum up the top there, or maybe that's coach. Jaden Mulvold, you'll see on the inside, also a North Harbour Bays athlete. And the top end racing wheelchair. Very exciting young para-athlete looking to take down many of those national records in his classification, hoping to have a good crack at the Paris 2024 Paralympics. Definitely one to keep an eye on for the future, and a very strong prospect leading into the 2028 Paralympics that is set for LA.
Just a note for the viewers, feel free to jump on the comment section and continue giving Hamish Meacham a bit of grief, and it's always good to see. So this is going to be exciting. It's so cool to see all these local clubs really coming out and supporting us. It almost feels a bit like a mini New Zealand road relays in a sense, with these rivalry clubs going up against each other. We've had Takapuna, we've got Owairaka.
That's a good point, and let's lay down the challenge. Where is Wellington Scottish? Where is the University of Canterbury? These guys need to be sending squads up to these races.
Book it in next year.
Yeah,
well, this year it'll be in December, right?
It will be. It will be. Look, the Daikin Night of Fives is New Zealand's premier track distance event with some great 800s, some great 5,000 metres. Year after year, Paul Hamlin puts together a fantastic meet, and this year it is an Oceania Athletics Challenger level meet, I believe.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah,
So
let's go with that.
Some great points on offer in the A races. And we're going with the waterfall start again. So on the left of our screen, we've got Benjamin Wall in the white singlet. He ran about a 4:01 mile in Wanganui in 2021. A great athlete out of the Whippets. Ayub, I've got to look at my sheets. Ayub Sadiqa, who's on the comeback trail. Ran a pretty solid 3,000 metres a couple of weeks ago at the ACA race night under lights. So we see about 10 athletes on the line and another 7 on the waterfall start. They'll stay out in lane 5 for the first 100 metres or so and then cut across. And here we go, the men's B race here at the Daikin Night of Fives.
And we're away, 12.5 laps to go. We've got 3 more races left to round off what has been a fantastic domestic track and field season. And it's really fitting that we round off the season with a bit of a nod towards distance running as these guys will be all looking forward to a cross-country season coming up very shortly as Benjamin Wall just takes the lead. He's got pacemaking duties today, as far as we understand.
Yeah, he ran a very good 800 metres earlier, closed pretty well, finished in about 1:51. So it looks like he's on pacemaking duties, and then we see Jaden Mulvold cruising around the outside. He's going to want to push pretty hard down this back straight to get out in front of this pack and then push away.
So Ronan Lee looks like he's the first man on the track in terms of the non-pacers. So he's wearing the white of Pakuranga, and then just behind him from Waihi is Ben Hennessy. So those two wanting to be right up at the business end of this race in the early stages as they come through 400 in 1:10. So that's right under a tick under 15-minute pace. So the pace is hot. We can probably expect. The last race was run in 15-something. This race you'd think would be won in 14-something.
Yep.
You would expect the next one to be run in 13-something.
Yep, we'll go with that. I think that's a pretty good call, Hayden. And I've just got to quickly take a moment to acknowledge my friends at the Hibiscus Coast Night Ninjas. I'll give them a shout out. They're a great community running group up on the Hibiscus Coast, and I don't want to have to sober drive for poker night, so my apologies, Brad Barron. Jaden Mulvold, as we mentioned, has shot out to a bit of a lead, so he's going to be trying to push and get around that 14:30 mark. I know that's what he's aiming for today. We'll see how he goes. It's going to be awfully lonesome out in the front for Jaden Mulvold. We'll try to keep an eye on both Jaden and the lead pack of the athletes.
You're going through in 2:13 for 800 metres. So Jaden is literally rolling, but also figuratively rolling along as well. As Benjamin Wall just leads out this train. Good to see this. This is one of the beautiful things of distance running, when you see a pacemaker move to the front and then everyone line up on that train. That's destination personal best, hopefully. Look at this field.
Absolutely. Sitting in 5th place, an athlete to watch out for, Luke Clements from the Whippets, off to the University of North Florida. He's our national junior steeplechase champion. I know he'll be desperate to get a time in the low 15s. Well coached by James Kugler from the TTT runners group. And the pack holding pretty tight. A little bit of separation at the back there, Hayden.
Now, did they go through just a tick under 3 minutes for the 1K? I'm going to call that 2:59.
Yep.
So they're on pace for a 14-something. And, yeah, you can see that pack is starting to get strung out. Some of these boys finding these early 71, 72-second laps just a little bit hot.
Yeah, that's Benjamin Britton and Simon Mace of Queenstown and Owairaka, respectively. They've just dropped off a little, but I imagine there'll be a few in this pack who will come back to them later on. And like a metronome, Benjamin Wall running 3-minute Ks He can do this all day, Benjamin Wall. I imagine he'll try and get them through to that 5 laps to go. Here's Jaden Mulvold.
So still about 100 metres ahead of the pack. So Jaden going along well as well. It'll be a solo effort until he gets to the point where he potentially comes around and laps some of the stragglers off the back of the pack.
Jaden Mulvold also coached by that coach I mentioned before, James Kugler, who's doing a fantastic job using very much a science-based approach to training Jaden, getting him training in the right training zones, getting his weekly mileage just in the right place for his age and his stage of development. So results have been coming thick and fast for Jaden under James's tutelage.
So the pack looks like it's joined back together again as it continues. This wonderful pacing from Benjamin Wall, just setting a really good tempo. And it does make such a difference for these runners who can just sit in and don't have to worry about the pace. All they need to do is just keep on the heels of the man in front and conserve as much energy as possible. So that was through 2K. I make it 4:48.
4:46, bang on.
Sorry, that's the mile, of course.
Yep. Knows exactly what he's doing, Benjamin Wall. Interesting, he keeps on grabbing down to that little spot there. That could be a little bit of stitch, but he'll want to do his job. He's committed to help these boys out.
Or is he storing his keys in there or something? He's just trying to make sure they're staying in there. Now, I'm probably going to say that it is stitch. It does definitely look like that. Maybe he was joining you in the pizza tent earlier.
Perhaps. You know, it makes a lot of sense. He would have had a whole bunch of lactic acid running through his body after that fantastic 800 metres earlier tonight. So, having said that now, the pace, the pack has strung out a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of a gap there. So, two runners just in behind Benjamin.
Kirk Madgwick from Hill City and then Ronan Lee from Pakuranga.
So they go through in 5:54. So it's picking things up ever so slightly. So that was a 2:57, I want to say. 2:55 for that lap. So it explains why there's a little bit of a separation.
Yeah, and Benjamin Wall now looks like he might be looking to step aside pretty soon. He's turning around. He had just had a brief little word to say to Kirk Madgwick. So coming up now with 7 laps to go in this men's B race 5,000 metres at the Daikin 95s.
And I'm unsure whether Kirk is there on pacing duties or racing duties. I was told by Paul Hamblin if they're wearing just a number, not a name, they're most likely there for pacing. But we'll wait and see what happens, because it looks like these two are potentially pulling away from the pack that just continues to ease back a little bit. That 2:55k maybe just a little bit too hot.
Yeah, so it's Ronan Lee sitting in third at the moment, and then that's Thomas Richards with the headband, the shorter athlete and the easy to catch Christchurch Avon singlet. And then it's a whole pack, including a lot of Whippets athletes and Luke Clements, the steeplechaser, still hanging in there.
So Benjamin Wall continues to do this wonderful pacemaking job. Kirk Madgwick doing well to follow on his heels.
Yeah, Benjamin Wall, he's really one to watch. He's doing some fantastic work pacing here, but he's a great athlete in his own right, coached by Steve Willis, developed through started as a very young athlete under Rob Dabb, who coached him up until very recently. He's done some great things already, Benjamin Wall, but there's more to come. He's quite a talented and hard-working young man. So definitely a name to remember, Benjamin Wall, originally from Palmerston North. I believe he's living in Otago nowadays. Here's Jaden Mulvold coming up with 6 laps to go. Jaden's actually going to run into a bit of traffic with some of these lapped runners.
Yeah, so he's got about 80 metres to go until he starts picking up some of those lapped runners. So you're trying to do the maths. He might just come past some of them, and then it gets to that tricky zone of getting navigating them when
Yeah.
you don't have a steering wheel on a racing
Yeah,
chair.
he'll pop himself out into lane 2 or 3, but I'm just looking at how Jaden's moving, and he could let the whole field here if he goes very well, but we'll see. Things aren't as strung out as they appear to be, but there is a bit of a gap between Benjamin Wall, Kirk Madgwick, and then everyone else coming through.
So 8:52 for the pacemaker of Benjamin Wall, and then Kirk just right on his heels. So that was 3K for 8:52. So 2:58 for that lap. The pack went through in about 8:57. So still on track for a sub 15-minute 5K here.
Yep.
And it continues. Ben Wall looking nice and comfy. I would have loved to see Ben line up in the A race.
Yeah, potentially that's something in Benjamin Wall's future. He's a very relaxed, smooth runner, a bit of a stylist, you would say. Ben Hennessy, not as much of a stylist, but very strong out of Waihi, looking very good leading that chase pack.
It's just sort of looking around at the scenery,
Yeah,
saying, what do you want me to do? So it looks like Benjamin Wall's night is done, and he's just going to do a little check-in with Kirk Madgwick, make sure he's all good to get through the last, 4 laps to go now?
Yeah,
coming up 4 laps.
And shout out to Hill City University, one of our most historic clubs. Kirk Madgwick leading with 4 laps to go.
So less than a mile to go, and this is always a good moment when you're used to doing mile reps every Saturday morning, knowing that, okay, this is just 1 mile rep to go, and then I'm done and dusted, and it really looks like he's opening up a good lead. And here we can see the fast-moving chair of Jaden Mulvold rolling around in lane 2. So there's the gap. It's quite substantial. And just looking through Kirk Madgwick's background, he's got a 14:53 personal best.
Just taking over your computer.
You go for it.
Hayden,
We need to check out what these power records are.
We absolutely do.
So Kirk Madgwick doing a really good job. And then we've got a little log jam that'll all be competing for that, what looks like it should be a battle for second, if nothing drastic happens to the 60-metre lead that Kirk's got on the field.
Yeah, and just looking at those records in the T54 classification, which is Jaden's, they all belong to a guy called Matthew Lack, who was a really world-class racer. Yeah, a bit of a legend out of a Potiki, I believe, of all places. But Jaden is heading for a PB of roughly a minute, which is pretty impressive. He's going to lap the leading runner, Kirk Madgwick, on this back straight. So this is great stuff from Jaden Mulvold, and huge shout out to his coach, James Krugler, who has helped him make some fantastic strides. Like, Jaden has always been a really hard-working athlete, but until linking up with James, I'll be brutally honest, he wasn't really tracking towards being an international athlete until the last year or so, hooking up with James. So great work, James Krugler, and great work, Jaden Mulvold, looking very strong here.
Now, there's been a bit of a development behind in that battle for second place, because those 3 men have really put in a bit of a surge. We've just gone through 1K to go. So Kirk went through in 11:55, but there's a little pack hunting him down. There's 3 men that have decided, look, he's only 50 metres up the road. Can we hunt this boy down? And there's also that extra prize of a sub-15-minute 5K on the cards.
Yeah, so that looks like Liam Bird, Ben Hennessy, and Thomas Richards. Richards leading at the moment from Hennessy. Liam Bird from the Whippets Running Project. Can they close the gap in these last 700 metres on Kirk Madgwick out of Hill City University? But coming up, 200 metres to go now for Jaden Mulvold. He's looking for a big close, and he's going to finish well under 14 minutes. Jaden Mulvold, go you good thing. Great pushing. Absolutely. Let's stay with Jaden Mulvold as he enters into the last 100. What has he got here? Can he up the tempo? How big of a PB can Jaden Mulvold push here, Hayden?
Yeah, really getting those wheels turning. Head down, just pushing away. And here he comes. What a wonderful 5,000 metres. He's done 12 and a half laps, done and dusted. I think he went under 13:30. That was quick.
He did. And we had a bit of an interesting angle. We didn't get the full... we didn't see actually how fast he was moving. We're looking down here horizontally, and he was absolutely flying in that last 100. Here we go, the lads now with a lap to go.
Yeah, so I make it about 30, 40 metres from first back to that little pack of three men. Now, the men you can see on screen, they were in, 5th, 6th and 7th place, but it continues to be Kirk Madgwick who owns this lead. He has sat behind the pacemaker the whole race, and then with just over a mile to go, took the lead and has really asserted his position in that field. Now, in second place, good little battle here, three men.
Liam Bird looking very strong, made a bit of a move here, and he's going to clear out from these other three athletes, Liam Bird. Other two athletes, apologies.
Thomas Richards just sitting in third place there. Can he hang it together? But here it is. Kirk Madgwick, he's been running under 3 minutes per K, but this is a huge finish from Liam Bird. Let's see what this kick happens. And I don't know if Kirk is ready for this. I don't know if he's seen him come, but here comes Liam. Here comes Liam. Has he got the kick? Has he got the wheels? What a timed run. And he will take the win from nowhere. Is that the most epic kick we're going to see all night? That was amazing.
Goodness.
Wonderful running there.
I've got to say it. What a sneaky bugger. Liam Bird coming through in the last 100. He had some momentum. Kirk Madgwick couldn't respond. Absolutely fantastic running and great time. Both of those athletes clocking under 15 minutes. They'll be pleased. Great pacing work by Benjamin Wall. And here come a flood of other athletes. And it's been hard work out there. 12 laps. It's like 12 rounds in the boxing ring, Hayden.
It really is, plus a little 200-metre sprint. And as we saw then, sometimes this race comes down to that final last half lap, and it can be brutal.
Well, and it was
the whole way.
It was the knockout punch. It was the knockout punch, the last round knockout punch by Liam Bird.
Points.
Yeah.
The left hook comes out.
Bang. Fantastic stuff. So, great night for Liam Bird, picking up a win in this men's B race here at the Daikin Night of Fives, held at the AUT Millennium, hosted by the North Shore Bays Athletics Club.
Now, I've got coming through on the results. Is it actually Sam Hayes, and we've just haven't put our sunglasses on?
Are you kidding me?
And we've called Liam Bird for the win.
Yeah.
And it's been Sam Hayes the whole time.
But I was looking at the shirt. I could have, Look, I'd like to apologise to both Sam Hayes and Liam Bird. If we can get our cameraman just to swing around and get the name on the bib, then we'll acknowledge our mistake. Oh, goodness me. There he is, Sam Hayes. Oh, mate. You can address your hate mail to 10 Telstar Place in Beach Haven, Sam Hayes. I'd like to apologise. Great run from a great young man. I like you very much, Sam Hayes. I'll buy you a coffee or a beer at some stage to apologise. Oh, well. Jason Cameron should be up here doing this instead of me. This is what happens when you call in the B team to help out. But again, these guys are just strewing across the track in the grass here at the AUT Millennium.
So, rounding off the results, according to the official results that we're seeing, well, I guess they're yet to be ratified, but the unofficial results that we're having coming through our system, Jaden Mulvold, 13:28.46, big new PB in the wheelchair. Sam Hayes with a 14:55.31 over Kirk Madgwick with a 14:55.59, so just 0.2 of a second separating those two. Very close running. Then it was back to Ben Hennessy, just missing out in that sub-15 with a 15.03. Thomas Richards from Christchurch Haven, 15.03. Darian Sorori from Hastings with a 15.10. Toby Tusker from Auckland City Athletics. Then rounding out the top 8, Fionn Cullinane and with a 15.13.
Wow, good running. And there's some young guys in that race as well. Some young guys running very well. So excellent stuff, and great racing from Jaden Mulvold with a huge PB in the men's 5,000 metre B race. The T54 athlete. Keep an eye out for Jaden Mulvold. We're going to head for another quick commercial break. We'll be back with you here at the Daikin Night of Fives.
Our mission is to assist our clients make better financial decisions through advice and superior investment solutions, whatever their stage of life.
We're a privately owned company, we care, and that showcases in everything that we do. We haven't lost sight of where we've been, but we're also excited about where we're going.
We really understand what New Zealanders want and need for their future investment goals and their retirements.
What we are trying to do is give everybody in New Zealand an opportunity to have the retirement they deserve.
So we've developed an intelligent and accessible investment approach to help clients reach their retirement goals.
We want to help New Zealanders make better financial decisions and ultimately give the clients more control and more flexibility.
Well, these days technology plays a huge role in helping us. I've been an advisor for over 30 years now, and if I think back to the tools that we would have had available to us to use back in the 90s and compare them to what they are today, it's just a huge advancement.
The world of investing has changed a lot in the last 10 or 20 years. Prices have got more expensive in all sorts of shares and equities.
Traditional asset classes on their own are not always going to keep up with the way the world is developing.
The investment world needs to change in order to generate returns and to generate returns that keep on compounding. For those in the market that are not willing to make those changes and think about other asset classes, they will have to be used to lower returns.
More and more Kiwis are demanding more from their investment providers. They want to know that they're invested in companies and business practices that are doing, right by the planet.
For every single company we look at a checklist that looks through factors on decarbonisation, carbon emissions, other social factors and corporate governance factors as well.
We believe that every one of our funds should be socially responsible. Give your clients the knowledge that they are ethically investing no matter where they put their investments.
Well, integrated financial advice, we believe, is a coordinated, disciplined approach and a great way to achieve client outcomes.
Listening is an essential part of providing advice to clients. I need to know the big picture for a client first. I want to know what their goals and their objectives are before I can turn to my mind what the actual investments are that are best for them.
And then we go through our tools, our technology, and help them plan along the way.
And we're really developing at a fast pace to be innovative, digital, engage with our clients, but also understanding, the foundations of what made us NZ Funds in the first place.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Good to have your company here at the Daikin Night of Fives. This is us wrapping up the New Zealand domestic track and field season. What a season it's been. We've got 2 races left to run, and the first of those is the Elite Women's 5,000 metres, sponsored by Kinetics Physiotherapy, and man, is this a good field. And the narrative is that number 13, can Laura Nagel hold on to her unbeaten, just dominating season that she's had. She's been setting PBs left, right and centre, and can she hold it together? She's basically organised this event with Paul Hamlin.
Yeah, she's essentially Paul Hamlin's kind of assistant / co-organiser. She's actually a fantastic sports administrator, so Laura Nagel works full-time at Hockey New Zealand in a commercial / communications role. Very, very good professional. Used to work for Sport Hawke's Bay, but perhaps better known as a runner, part of a team NCAA cross-country championship while at Providence University. Fantastic return to running. She had a few years in the wilderness with injury after getting back from America, then has had a successful surgery, ran last season, but this season has been a breakout. PBs across the board from 1,500 metres, 3,000 metres, and tonight over 5,000 metres. Let's see what Laura Nagel can do. She's got her eye forward to the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. She sees that as a fair and realistic goal to go for. And based on her form this domestic season, I can't disagree. She's been very impressive, Hayden.
3,000 metre champ this year, mile champ this year, 5,000 metre champ, and 1,500 metre champ. That's a summer and a half.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal. And it's setting PBs while she's doing it.
It would be the most dominant domestic distance performance by a female athlete, potentially going all the way back to
summer last year.
She did. Did she win the 15 in the end at Nationals?
So she did the triple, but I think she won the 15 and the 5.
Yeah.
Bronze in the 8.
Yep. Yes, that's right. Yes. Yeah, correct. Yeah. And here we go.
So Laura Nagel's PB is 15:42, so that will be a time that we want to keep a close eye on. But here we are with the elite women's 5,000 metres, 12 and a half laps here at the AUT Millennium. You are tuned into the Night of Fives. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, because these are the two big fives that we want to watch. 5Ks around the track in perfect distance running conditions as our pacemaker leads things out. Any idea who that pacemaker is?
Yeah, that's Penelope Salmon from Auckland City Athletics, who's going to do a little bit of the early pacing work for us here. And we see a little bit of a bunch right at the front early on. And we'll talk about some of the athletes in that bunch. Bridget Dennehy, part of that Bays setup. Olivia Byrne, who has won a bucket full of national titles over cross-country, road and on the track. Annika Grogan is in there, looking very strong, very solid early. Just off the front bunch, Maya Christini, who has won this race in the past. So, the athletes kind of hanging together at the moment. We'll see what Penelope Salmon goes through this first lap in.
Here we've got Eva Pringle in that group as well. So a good little bunch of 6 athletes leading things out as they go through in 1:18. So that's reasonably honest. So we're definitely looking at something around, 16:15 pace, roughly?
Yeah, roughly that. I've got a little pace chart on my phone that I'm going to open up as a little cheat sheet. Yeah, the pace is not 100% on. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out over the next few laps. We don't know what's going on in the background, but Pacer, Laura Nagel, Annika Grogan, Olivia Byrne, Eva Pringle and Bridget Dennehy are your leading pack at the moment, with, I believe that's Poppy Martin about 5 metres back in 7th. Some interesting athletes as we go further through this field, some athletes who are well performed on the road.
Yeah, good to see Olivia Byrne back as well. I haven't seen much of her this summer, but good to see her in that pack of 6 runners leading things out. And then we've got this little chasing pack, which is full of some of our young up-and-coming athletes. Young Sophie Robb there, who's been one of our really well-performed juniors. But this group of 6 athletes led out by Penelope Salmon. You can see Anika Grogan just making her presence felt. And as she's done all season long, she's had a really good summer as well. And look, we talked about Laura Nagel setting PBs and winning national titles. It's not like the other girls haven't been running fast behind her as well. There's been a big step up in the performance of all these women this year, and it's been just fantastic to see.
Yeah, particularly good. 800 metres in particular, I would say, was quite exciting. And it's been really handy domestically for Laura Nagel. She's had some quite competitive races over the shorter distances with the likes of Catherine Camp and Cara McDermott, able to keep her honest. But yeah, it'll be very interesting. So 3:18 through the first K. So Laura Nagel will have some kind of a plan here. We're not in on the plan, Hayden, but the plan will play out and we'll find out what's happening as the race goes on.
Definitely a shift in gears. So when we click back to the coverage, we'll see a big shift, and you can see one of our athletes just making a move to try and stay in contact, because at the moment Bridget Dennehy and Laura Nagel are running away and just splitting up that group. Great job there by Eva Pringle, just seeing that gap appear and deciding I need to move in there. So Bridget Dennehy and Olivia Byrne just feeling the effects of that bungee cord getting a bit too stretchy.
Yeah, so I wonder if there's some kind of a setup to progressively drop the pace as things go along rather than have Laura hanging out by herself for the entire race. Could be the case. It certainly seems that Penelope Salmon has ratcheted things up a little bit as we've passed the first K. And having said that, now she's got a little bit of a 1 or 2 metre lead on Laura Nagel, who'll want to shut that down quickly in the next 20 metres.
So just looking up, Eva Pringle set a personal best just a couple of weeks ago, well, a month or so ago at the Canterbury Champs, taking out that title in 16:57. So this pace will be a little bit quicker than that at the moment, especially with this new injection that we've had over the last 600 metres or so. So can those two claw back the distance? I don't know. It's a little bit far. Eva Pringle has a little look over the shoulder, says, "Oh, am I in no woman's land here?" So we see the sky light up in the background.
She might as well pin her ears back and try and get on Annika Grogan right now, because Eva Pringle, if she can get on the back here, she might get dragged through, and even if she fades a little at the end, incredibly plausible she could end up running a 16:40 or something in that range. So right now we see Penelope Salmon, the pacemaker from Laura Nagel, and her Bays Babes club mate, teammate Annika Grogan in third. Grogan, quite a well-performed athlete in her own right. Acknowledging the crowd there, Annika Grogan, fantastic to see. Laura Nagel, all business, sponsored by New Balance. Fantastic supporters of elite New Zealand athletes, friends at New Balance. Here in the Kinetics Physiotherapy Women's Elite 5,000 metres at the Daikin Night of Fives. Coming up towards the 2 kilometre mark, Hayden. It'll be interesting to see what they clock through in.
Absolutely. Here they come down.
Rolling down the back straight. Looking pretty comfortable, these three. Penelope Salmon doing a great job with the pacemaking.
Yeah, and good to see Laura Nagel and Anika just happy to sit in, and that's 6:27, so definitely increase.
Yeah.
We saw it on our screens, it was confirmed with the numbers, so that was a 3:09, so much quicker. That's that sort of 15:45 pace with that K, so things have definitely changed. Penelope steps off, job done for her tonight. And now it comes down to these two who are in sync, running stride for stride. And let's see if they can just keep this on rolling, because could we see these two go under 16?
Yeah,
Is that
potentially.
too much to ask? It would have to be a quick final 3,000 metres, but...
Look, they're training mates. They do a large number of sessions together, so Annika Grogan will know where she sits, where she stands in relation to Laura Nagel, and she certainly looks very comfortable at the moment sitting in behind Laura. We see about 150 metres back, there's a really interesting pack forming with a lot of younger athletes, the likes of Sophie Robb and Stella Hammonds. And in that pack is Karen Donaldson-Barron, who, I don't want to offend Karen, but I think she's in her late 30s, a mother of two, full-time working professional, aiming to run some fast marathons later this year, having a crack over 5,000 metres on the track, doing very well, keeping the young athletes honest so far in this race. But it's all Laura Nagel and Annika Grogan out the front.
Yeah, this is great running from Laura, and also Annika just being willing to stick on her tail, and really gutsy move. I just looked up Annika's PB, 16:48. So this will definitely be challenging that.
Yeah, and they're getting a lot of support every time they come down this home straight. There's a good crew of the Bays Babes there supporting their teammates, cheering them on. They're really hoping to see something special tonight from Laura Nagel, and Annika Grogan is doing something pretty special right now, hanging with Laura Nagel.
Loving this. So they just continue to clock down those metres. As we see, this is the chase group for third, fourth and fifth, is it?
Correct.
And
Olivia Byrne.
Yeah, they're about 100 metres back as Hayden Wild does that most annoying of things, do strides right next to when you're doing a race. But he's going to get ready for a big night, hopefully in a few minutes. And Anika Grogan with a big smile all over her face. That's cool to
She's
see.
loving it. She is loving it, Anika Grogan. Could be
Is that one of those psychological techniques of putting a smile on your face as things start to get a bit pinchy?
Well, I like it here at the Oceania Athletics Area Permit Meet, the Daikin Night of Fives. Still smiling. It's absolutely crazy. They're going to come past this big crowd of supporters. You can just see the heads of those supporters here. Yeah, lots of cheering. I can hear it in the background, which is great.
A lot of the athletes have stuck around. There's wonderful food provided, so it's a really kind of festive atmosphere for the small crowd that is here. So 9:44 on the clock. So they've slowed down a tad. That was a 3:17. So just slowing back to more like the pace that they started with, but still on track for a good quick time. I would say very low 16s, which will be a PB for Anika, and Laura's PB is 15:42, so I don't think that'll be challenged tonight.
It would represent a solid hit out and a pretty huge seasonal best for Laura, which is absolutely fantastic. And it's a win on her resume. There's some big world ranking points on offer, so that'll boost up the score and enable her to hopefully jump into the top 150, let's say, internationally, which would be pretty good for 2022.
Yeah, and interesting as well, Laura's made she's thought of herself as a 5,000 metre runner, but she's found training for the 5K has actually massively improved her 1,500 metres.
Yeah.
It's one of those, we come from the city, the home of Arthur Lydiard, who taught the world this idea that you can train more like a marathon runner, even if you're training for the middle distances. And it seems to be, that approach of more steady state stuff, more volume. It seems to be working for Laura.
Well, it's not often an athlete who's north of 30, which Laura will admit she is clocking up PBs over 1,500 metres in a mile. As we see Bridget Dennehy and Olivia Byrne, you can see the sweat on the brows.
Yeah, that's
the hurt on their faces.
So that's going to be a good little battle to watch unfold as those two run shoulder to shoulder. But it continues, Laura Nagel. And I wonder if Anika is just looking at Laura saying, well, I'm saving a bit more energy here. And I've come second to this girl a couple of times. I got the silver in the mile champs behind Laura. I reckon I can nab her. I think I've got the strength. I wonder if that's what she's thinking.
Well, she's on the train. It's not quite like cycling, You're not saving 30% of your energy sitting back there drafting behind somebody. But it might be 5%, and that might just be enough for Anika Grogan to really pull something special out tonight. She's heading for a pretty significant PB here as they come down with what will be 3 laps. 3 laps to go for Laura Nagel and Anika Grogan here in the Kinetics Physiotherapy Women's Elites. 5,000 metres at the Daikin Night of Fives.
Yeah, wonderful scenes here under the lights, perfect running conditions. Temperature must be 19, 20 degrees, basically zero wind. Thunderstorms going on in the distance, but nothing affecting us here. All of the electricity is coming from the runners, not from the sky, thankfully.
And Olivia Byrne has crafted out a bit of a gap, a 10-metre gap over Bridget Dennehy. These two ladies are looking so good. They're coming up and lapping a group of runners now. There's Karen Donaldson-Barron that I talked about earlier, mother of 2, looking to run some fast marathons later this year. Some of the younger athletes, Sarah Douglas, better known as a trail and mountain running exponent. I believe she's represented New Zealand in mountain running. Out of Queenstown, you see the distinctive Queenstown uniform as Laura Nagel and Bridget Dennehy safely navigate a group of lapped runners.
Yeah, they're coming up to 1K here, and this is where things are going to get very spicy. We talked about that slight advantage of just being able to sit in. Anika just getting that benefit of potentially saving a bit of energy, but then Laura's been able to just dictate the race from the front, so maybe she's aware that she's got a little bit of room. So Laura's the 5,000 metre champ, but Anika has come second to Laura a couple of times at least this season. I know she got silver at the mile champs in Wanganui.
Now, what we've seen consistently this season from Laura Nagel is very, very fast finishes. And we're not talking the last 100. We're talking she's opened it up from about 500, 600 out. Yeah. And so are my words prophetic? I don't know. We will see. Laura Nagel does appear to just be tightening the screws a little. There's the first gap we've seen all day, Hayden.
She has the Phillips head out and is definitely tightening some screws. The bungee cord is stretching. She is just lightly pressing on that accelerator, and the engine that has led her to multiple New Zealand titles this summer is coming into form once again, as you predicted. 400 metres left to run. Can Laura Nagel hold on to this? She's opened up a 10-metre lead just seemingly from nothing. Here we go, 14:55 on the clock.
It's going to be a huge PB for Anika Grogan, no matter what happens here. She needs to hang on and close as well as she can, but it is all Laura Nagel with 320 metres to go in this Kinetics Physiotherapy Elite Women's 5,000 metres. She's really striding out now, Laura Nagel, looking good. She's got a couple of lapped runners that she can focus on ahead of her, Hayden.
Amazing run here from Laura. She's had such a great season. She's won the 3,000 metres. She's won the mile champs. She's won the 5K and the 1,500 metre. This is the final domestic track and field race of the year, and look at that clean
How's
pair
the
of
speed?
heels.
How's the speed? She's looking at that clock going, can I close in 30? Can I break 16? I'm Laura Nagel. I'm going to give it a crack. Come on, Laura. 100 metres left. Here she goes, passing Maya Christini, former winner of this event. Really opening up now, Laura Nagel.
Here she comes, Laura Nagel. She's had a spectacular summer. She's going to finish it in fine form with a win in the 5,000 metres at the Night of Fives. She helped organise the event, and she's just done a detonation on the field. And wonderful run here for second place.
And the probable prize for biggest PB of the night goes to Anika Grogan, who just hung on for much, much longer than we thought to Laura Nagel. What a fantastic performance. A coming out party for Anika Grogan. Laura Nagel flat on the track.
And I'm trying to scan back to see where third place is, see if there's a little battle. We knew that we had Olivia Byrne, who was in third place. I think she's on the home straight now.
80 metres, 70 metres, 50 metres to go. Olivia Byrne looking very strong today. She's migrated and spent more time on the road in the past few years. Great to see her back from injury, crossing the line comfortably under 17 minutes. She's pretty happy. A little clap of the hands. Great return to racing, Olivia Byrne. Fantastic to see you out there.
Bridget Dennehy for fourth place. She's had a wonderful summer as well, picking up multiple medals.
Hometown club Bays Babes go first, second and fourth. Shout out to Paul Hamlin, not only the organiser of this meet, but coach of those three athletes and many, many more who performed very well this evening at the Daikin Night of Fives. So streaming across the finish line, a bunch of very good performances. If you're a female running anywhere under 18 minutes for 5,000 metres, you're one of the very elite in New Zealand. Absolutely fantastic to see these girls out there giving their all. Great conditions here at the AUT Millennium.
Well, let's talk about that 66-second last lap. That's pretty spectacular after leading most of the race.
It is. It's and it, to me, what it indicates is when Laura Nagel talks about the Paris Olympics, those are the sort of tools that you need at that level. And Laura Nagel, she's got the talent. You know, she ran at Providence. She did very well. She won a national teams championship there. She puts in the hard work. She just needs a little bit of luck over these next few years, and I, for one, Hayden, absolutely, definitely believe she can make it and be an Olympian for New Zealand. Whether it's over 5,000 metres or 10,000 metres or,
potentially the 1,500. Who
Hey,
knows?
look.
She just ran a PB the other night in the 1,500.
Yeah, she hasn't really been truly challenged over 1,500. So I'd love to see Laura get the opportunity to go across and race against some of these really fast Australian girls.
Yeah.
That'll come. But, we've got to acknowledge Laura works a full-time job. She's got a big life here in New Zealand, so she can't just, fly across to Europe willy-nilly whenever she wants. If you're sitting at home watching this and you're an executive director of a large, successful company, you could do a lot worse than supporting an athlete like Laura Nagel.
Absolutely.
She has done very well tonight, closing in just over 16 minutes at the Kinetics Physiotherapy Women's Elite 5,000 metres. See the replay of those last 20 metres, looking very strong. She ran a very composed race.
I think one of the things that really excites me about her and about the other girls that are with her, it is a team effort to develop distance runners. It's very rare that you have distance runners who just train by themselves and make it on the international stage. You need that support around you. And what's happening here at this ground, at this club, with Bays Athletics and with the Bays Babes, just sets all these women up to continue that improvement. And we've seen it this summer. I mean, I was asked a couple of months ago whether Laura Nagel was a potential to make it onto the international stage, and at that time I was like, well, she's got a bit to go. But now I'm definitely putting her in that category. If you like you say, if she can get the ducks in a row, Paris could be on.
Absolutely, and here we see the results. Laura Nagel, 16:01, Anika Grogan in second, 16:11. Olivia Byrne from Auckland City Athletics, 16:54. The top three finishes all under 17 minutes. Laura Nagel, painfully shy of breaking 16. She's done it before. I have no doubt she'll do it again. A slew of PBs as we go through those results, Hayden. Very impressive running from athletes at all ages and stages of their career in the Kinetics Physiotherapy Women's Elite 5,000 metres here at the Daikin Night at Fives.
And we're not finished. We've still got one more big 12.5 lapper to go with the men's A race, and it's named after, it's called the Blincoe Cup because Adrian Blincoe still owns that New Zealand record of 13:10. Do we dare suggest that could go down tonight, or is that too much to ask for in one season of track and field?
If we had Geordie Beamish and a few others here tonight, I think it'd be really on. It's an outside chance. Hey, look, we've got a great field. Let's talk about this. Will Anthony from Olympic, Cameron Avery back from Stony Brook, Christchurch Avon, Ben Bidouar, Hamilton City Hawks, Ollie Chignall, Hill City University, Ronan Kodri, Pakuranga, Christian Duval, the junior champion, Pakuranga, Christopher Dryden, University of Canterbury, Russell Green, Hill City University, David Lee, Whippets Running Project, William Little, University of Canterbury, Jared Monk, Hill City, etc., so on and so forth. Here's the big name, Santana pacing, Matthew Taylor, the sub 4 minute miler from North Harbour Bays, Sam Walden from Whippets, and that man, Hayden Wild. Very exciting. The big contenders, Hayden Wild, Julian Oakley, Ollie Chignall. Don't discount Matthew Taylor. And then should be very exciting. I'm expecting a very competitive second pack to form. We're going to have to pay our attention to the front pack, but we've got some really great emerging athletes.
Yeah, the likes of Will Anthony, Zane Powell behind. This is where we could see some big PBs dropped, some markers laid out. Like, look, Hayden, look, Julian, you may be the current cream of the crop, but we're just waiting just to stage right, ready to come into the spotlight. So I'm very pumped about this.
I'm very pumped. And just to run through the pacing, from what we know tonight, we've got the winner of the men's 800, on his way to
Yeah,
Oregon.
James Harding.
Who's going to open us up and try and take us through the first 3 or so laps. He ran a 1:47, huge PB earlier tonight.
Yeah.
And then Sam Tanner's going to take over, Olympian over 1,500 metres. And Sam Tanner is committed to helping his friend and teammate, Hayden Wild, and wants to run for as long as he possibly can. He's challenged the producers to try and keep a camera on him when he steps off the track, because he's pretty sure he's going to vomit right away. That's how hard he plans to push it, Sam Tanner. So he's going to, whether that takes him to 2,500 metres or 3,000 metres or maybe even beyond, who knows, but he's going to do whatever he can to get Hayden Wild as far as he can.
To see the lunch re-emerge. Okay, here we go. Here's the men's A race in the 5,000 metres at the Daikin Night of Fives. This is the final race of the domestic track and field season here in Aotearoa. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been wonderful to have you join us, and man, are we in for a treat for these last 12 and a half laps. So there we go. Ollie Chignell on the outside. He's just going to have a little look over his left shoulder and look for a spot to tuck in. Sam Tanner leading things out, and the three men that we thought would line up behind Sam Tanner are right there. So Sam Tanner, 1. Ollie Chignell 2, Hayden Wild 3, Julian Oakley 4.
And Sam Tanner, first time ever running in his Puma kit. Great to see him picking up a contract with Puma. He's checking down his watch. He definitely wants to get this right. Let's see what he hits that first lap in, Hayden.
Splits we're looking for is 64 seconds, which would give them 13:20 at the end of the race. Here we go, pretty much bang on. I make that 64.
He's done a fair bit of running, Sam Tanner. He knows what he's doing. And I was so wrong about James Harding. So I can't see James Harding in that field anywhere.
Has he decided to just jump in, or maybe he's helping lead some of the rest of the pack? We can, see if you're... Now, there's going to be multiple races within this, because there'll be some guys who will want to crack 14 minutes for the first time.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be an interesting little plot line to keep track of.
And that's a huge barrier to look to get up under as a let's say an elite domestic distance runner. But, we've got to pay our attention to these top three. Ollie Chignell, Hayden Wild, the Olympic bronze medalist triathletes, and Julian Oakley, the multiple-time national medalist, national champion, did his running, I believe, at Providence University in the NCAA system. Of course, son of the famous Dame Susan Devoy, the greatest female squash player of all time, but he's a very well-performed athlete in his own right. He's competed at the World Indoor finalist over 3,000 metres. Julian Oakley looking comfortable in fourth at the moment. Hayden Wild looking silky smooth in that, would you call that a pink singlet, or is that aubergine?
Purple. I'm unsure about these sorts of things, but here we go through 240. Bang on the nose. Perfect pacing. Sam Tanner, he's been given the word from Coach Craig Kirkwood, and he has just set the metronome going, and these boys are very happy to set him behind. So we've got New Zealand cross-country champion Ollie Chignell. Then we've got Hayden Wild, bronze medalist, and in fourth place, Julian Oakley, the 3,000 metre mile champion. So the cream of the crop of New Zealand middle and distance running, all running together.
And it looks like Russell Green leading that second pack at the moment. Still on pace there. Hayden, what's your view on moustaches? Ollie Chignell has got a very prominent looking slug on his lip there.
It's a beautiful thing. I mean, if you can grow it, why not?
Well, he does live in Otago, and they breed them a little differently down there. They breed them tough, Ollie Chignell.
Sam Tanner's sporting a very nice little moustache there with the hair bun as well. But of course, we're not just here to talk male fashion.
It's hard not to with these four. Let's be honest.
Very hard not to. They're a good-looking bunch, and I can tell you the pack behind them is forming into a very good-looking train, and they're not too far behind. I mean, we're talking 60 metres at the moment. So, you know, that I'm sure they'll be on track. We'll try and get a mile split for them. But I'm sure they're on track for something around low 14s.
Lots of juniors in that pack. They could be looking at a sneaky last-minute qualification to the World Junior Championships over 5,000 metres. Some of these guys like Christian Duval and Ronan Kodri out of Pakuranga, very well coached by Mr. Kodri's father, who I believe has a background in golf, so I'm not sure how he's drifted to be a running coach, but he's turning into a very, very good one.
Russell Green, one of the big revelations this season, running so well in the mile at the National Mile Champs, picking up the bronze medal in that event.
Look at the concentration on Hayden Wild's face. He is all business out there, sitting in third place at the moment.
No headband as well, going back to the fashion statements that we've already seen on display. Is these guys go through to see 8 laps remaining. 8 laps remaining. It seems a long way when you're rolling along at this sort of clip. So Ollie Chignell is looking so relaxed. He's had a funny old season. I know that he didn't perform as well as he wanted to at the Mile Champs, but then came back for a good Nationals.
Early days, and Sam Tanner has to bow out as they go through 2,000 metres in 5:26.
Oh, hold it in. There we go. Okay. Just in time, we go back to the running action, and Ollie Chignell is looking wonderful. Now, personal best for these guys. Ollie ran a 13:36. That was at the Porritt Classic in 2021 last year, where Hayden Wild set his PB 7 seconds faster at 13:29. Julian Oakley's smack bang in the middle of the two with a 13:34 PB. So could we see these three boys dip beneath their personal best? They need to keep ticking away at 64-second laps.
Well, and the interesting thing here, Hayden, is they can't get too tied up about winning this race. You know, do they want to win? Yes, absolutely. Do they want to run fast? That's the main thing. That's the main goal for these three. So they've got to be prepared to work together. If you're feeling good, let it fly. Don't be afraid to lead. And we see that from Ollie Chignell now, well coached by the legendary Chris Malone. He's coached an Olympic triathlon medalist himself and one Mr. Hamish Carter. Probably watching at home tonight. Shout out to Hamish Carter, a fantastic runner as well as a triathlete. But, you know, generational talent. Hayden Wild now. Chignell stepping aside.
Yeah, good to see this. A bit of teamwork coming into play, and I'm sure Hayden Wild won't mind taking a lap or two at the front. These guys need to work together, and like you say, we need good times from these boys. We don't just need big victories. So these guys have come here with a bit of a game plan, and they've looked at the weather conditions, decided tonight's a good night to run a fast 5,000, and so far so good for those three.
Yeah, and Hayden Wild looks like he has increased the pace a little here, so that it's slipped out to the 13:30 range. We had started on 13:20 pace, so it'll be very interesting to see now. We're at 2,800 metres.
Yeah, apologies, we totally missed the 2K split, getting totally carried away. But we will make sure we get a good 3K split. So the sort of time that we're looking for is, what is it, 8:20?
Well, 8 flats, 13:20.
8 flat, right, yes, of course.
And so they're going to roll over that. They're going to be, I want to say about 8:05 as Hayden Wild steps aside, allowing Ollie Chignell to take the pace and slipping all the way back in behind Julian Oakley, which is quite smart. Will we see Julian Oakley take a lap later on? 8:07 they go through the 3,000 metres in.
Yeah, 8:07 for the leading three boys. So they're all still on PB pace, but they will need to keep that pace nice and honest. Now, the pack behind them is going through an 8:27, 8:28. Yeah, so that's the Russell Green pack.
Yeah, and Cameron Avery and Matthew Taylor in that pack. See former World Junior representative Christopher Dryden just getting dropped off the back of the third pack. Ollie Chignell looking very comfortable leading these three lads. Julian Oakley bouncing along. He's all tendons, the Tauranga athlete Julian Oakley. So they went through the 3,000 metres in roughly 8:07. So let's see what they've ticked this lap off in, Hayden.
Yeah, I'm so impressed with how Ollie's looking as well. Just a picture of composure. Maybe if anyone's hurting, maybe Julian's showing a bit more of the fatigue on his face, but it doesn't always count. You know, the poker face is a real thing in the world of distance running. But by the look of how much work Ollie's being prepared to do at the front, he's looking pretty in control.
Yeah, and look, what I said earlier about Laura Nagel, you know, get that lady a race. I think the same thing goes through for these guys. They're doing a great job of working together, but it'd be fantastic to see them in a big pain train running 13:15, 13:20 pace. Sure, they could hang in there. So we're going to come across with 3 laps to go when they get through this last 150 metres of this lap. Hayden Wild now back in front, the triathletes, Olympic bronze medalist, the Falcon, a bustling runner.
And the fact that he's matching it with these two runners who are genuinely, you know, right on the cusp of qualifying for these World Championships, Com Games teams, and to have a triathlete right up there as we see a few little drops of rain, but that won't bother these boys. If anything, it will probably be a welcome cooling in what is a reasonably muggy night.
Yeah, I mean, he is primarily a triathlete, but let's not forget he's also a national cross-country champion. He's a national 5,000 metre champion. He's very well performed over all of the middle and long distance events, Hayden Wild.
Is that a small little gap opening up? Oh, it's just going wide. So 10:56 at 4K? No,
No, they're coming up.
We're past 4K.
Yeah,
right,
they're coming up with 500 metres to go, I believe.
Sorry,
Hayden.
getting things all mixed up. All the excitement is building, but at the moment, Ollie Chignall's looking very strong, just continuing to put his foot down. Hayden Wild, was that a little grimace? Is he saying, Ollie, you're moving pretty well, mate?
2 laps to go now for Ollie. 2 laps to go.
There is a gap opening up, as you can see, 6-7 metres. That bungee cord is stretching. You can see Hayden Wild just sitting in the bucket a tad as Ollie Chignall continues to have his hips forward, up on his toes, looking full of running.
He's absolutely bouncing along, flowing. Great stride from Ollie Chignall. The man from Otago has opened up 20 metres in a very short space over 2 high quality athletes. He's absolutely flying, Ollie Chignall. Chris Ballone will be on the sidelines cheering his lungs out. 600 metres to go.
600 metres left to run. What has this boy got? Ollie Chignall, his personal best is 13:36. Is that going to go tonight? Surely it will. The pace that he's moving at the moment, they are pulling away from the triathlete, from the bronze medalist at Tokyo. Julian's just inching away from Hayden. Can Hayden make a resurgence? At the moment, it's all about Ollie Chignall.
Ollie Chignall, 1 lap to go. What can he close in? 12:30, 12:31. It's going to be a very good time on. Julian Oakley has dropped Hayden Wild. Julian Oakley has opened up a 15-metre gap on the Olympic bronze medalist, looking very good, but Ollie Chignall.
Yeah, look at him go, really getting up onto his toes now, and you mentioned that 12:31 at the bell. Can he pull away and duck under that 13:30, that magic mark? He'll need to run a blazing fast 200 metres here. It'll need to be about, 26 seconds or so. But here he goes, Ollie Chignall.
The pride of Hill City University, the Otago products. Ollie Chignall, he's had a great few years. Can he get the rewards today, Hayden? Here he goes, last 100 metres.
Here he goes, last 100 metres of the race, last 100 metres of the track and field season here in New Zealand. Looks over his shoulder, he doesn't need to because he's got a big old lead. He stormed away with about 700 metres to go, and he's absolutely dominated this last kilometre. 13:34, that'll be a new PB. Julian Oakley comes through just a couple of seconds behind. It's not going to be Hayden Wild's night tonight. But still a very solid time, 13:43, and it's going to be a good little battle. Is this Cameron Avery coming up for 4th place? Good finish from him.
Cameron Avery, the Stony Brook grad who's targeting a marathon later this year. Fantastic running.
He should just duck under 14 minutes. It'll be very close. And a good run there from Matthew Taylor for 5th. Big finishes. I wonder if we can get a shot at this finish line, because there's a lot of boys really emptying the tank to get personal best here.
A couple of the Pakuranga juniors there, really close to that World Juniors mark. There's Sam Walden coming across 14.23. That'll be a big PB. Ben Bidwar, apologies. There's Walden. Russell Green, who did a lot of the early work. Here's our man, Ollie Chignell, the man, the moustache, the legends. Great running from Ollie Chignell, taking out the win in the Kinetics Physiotherapy Men's Blincoe Cup. 5,000 metres here at the Daikin Night of Fives.
Impressive there from Ollie. He had a bad night at the New Zealand Mile Champs in Wanganui. Came back and picked up the bronze medal in the 1,500 metres at the National Champs, and now has really stamped his mark, stamped the trajectory that he wants his season to head in. This isn't the end of his season. He's going to head over to the States and try and clock some very quick 10K and 5K times over there. So this was always the plan, to peak at this end of the season, and here was where it all went on. He moved to the front and the boys couldn't respond.
Yeah, he really dropped the hammer and opened up a 10-metre gap in such a short space there. Very, very smooth. He looked so composed through the whole race. It makes me really excited. I believe his best distance is going to be 10,000 metres. I'm really excited to see what he can do if he can get into one of these great races, like the Mount Sac, like the Stanford Challenge. He should go very well. He'll go close to a black singlet, and believe you me, he is masterfully guided by one Mr. Chris Malone, one of the quality coaches within our sport, who, you know, that man can get all sorts of athletes into black singlets. And Ollie Chignell is a real talent, so I believe there's a really good chance he could do that. So, great running.
Let's keep posted on how Ollie Chignell goes overseas, and yeah, I've had some good chats to him, and he's got high hopes. He's not going to settle for just 13:30 something. He wants to take down New Zealand records and go to places that Kiwis haven't gone before. So I love the attitude of Ollie, and it's reminiscent of, you know, a lot of those guys on screen there. Young Zane Powell there with the Pakuranga singlet. He'll be one to watch for the future. But rounding off what has been a wonderful night here at the Daikin Night of Fives. We've had 5,000 metre events that have just been getting quicker and quicker as the night's gone on. And before that, we had incredible 800 metre races, 100 metre races, wonderful field events.
Hi fam.
And here we jump down to Ollie.
Thanks for watching. Yeah, much love. Over R2 and up the Sharks. Thanks.
We've got no idea what he said, but you guys at home know exactly what he said. A little message to everyone watching at home.
And look, one of the great things about Ollie is he was not the greatest junior coming through. You know, he was not picking up multiple national junior titles. I think he might have got the odd sneaking in here and there. But as a youngster, you know, I've talked to local Otago aficionados, and they just didn't think he was anything special. They thought he was a plucky little try, and they really liked his personality. But he stuck at it. He's had some great guidance, and he is really emerging as a fantastic world-class runner. We're going to put the results up on screen pretty soon, because there's some impressive times as we go through the field here in the Kinetics.
A lot of people will be waiting at home wanting to see what their friends, family members, club mates did in terms of setting personal bests, and some speedy times there.
Yeah, Zane Powell is a junior, 14.12. Will Anthony is a junior, 14.15. Christian Duval is a junior, 14.15.
Good little battle with those three.
Holy smokes, Hayden. These kids are blimmin' fast. But 1, 2, 3, Chignell, Oakley, Wild, the class of the field. Cameron Avery, looking forward to seeing what that man can do over a marathon. Great results here in the Kinetics Physiotherapy Men's Blincoe Cup, 5,000 metres. It's been a fantastic evening, Hayden.
It has been a fantastic evening, and I mentioned it before, Adrian Blincoe's 5,000 metre record still stands. Don't worry, Adrian, that is safe. And what a night it's been. We've just had perfect conditions, big thank you to Paul Hamblin, Laura Nagel and all the crew here at the Bays Athletics and the team here at AUT Millennium. Thanks to SkysportNext and the team at StreamShot for bringing all the coverage. And thanks to everyone listening and watching at home. You guys, by just tuning into the coverage, sharing it with your friends, help keep the sport alive and kicking here in New Zealand. So this rounds out our domestic season of track and field. Next up will be cross country and the road season, and of course, Com Games coming up, the World Champs coming up. We're in for a whole heap more of athletics and track and field to come. So stay tuned for all the action. Thank you for tuning, everyone. Ka kite anō.
Cheers.